This is Hank from the Wildflower Bee Farm. New bee discoveries. Here's our Pine Grove hive. Our Pine Grove hive is in the middle of a pine grove section of our forest. You can see it's close to the outside, but it actually is in the shade pretty much all the time. It's colder in the winter. Not colder, I shouldn't say, but it's cooler in the winter in the sense of it doesn't warm up in the spring or in the, the warm days you get sometimes in February where bees can take a cleansing flight. Yet it survived the winter. So it's a myth to say bees cannot live inside of a forest. In fact, I think it's an advantage. That's number one myth. The second has to do with swarms. The experts, and this is one of our swarms, that chose to move into a log hive on its own. We didn't tell it to. It just went. We didn't catch them physically and dump them in. They just chose to fly there. Now, here's what you need to know. The experts say when you have a bee family, as we do on our 50-acre farm, to have a swarm choose to live with you, you need to put these types of things well over a mile away from where the bees live. That's according to Dr. Seeley. Well, unfortunately, Dr. Seeley is wrong, because we have had, so far to date, 5 different hives choose, 5 different swarms choose to stay with us, all within a few hundred yards of each other. Isn't that fascinating? And so this second myth debunked really has to do with, where to place the empty boxes or the empty hives, as we do, to try to have swarms stay with you. And we believe the number one thing is habitat. Here's another hive that swarmed and came to stay with us. They just chose that, came to live there. Very close. In fact, this hive is probably 50 yards from some other bees. They chose to stay here. Now, let's think about this for a minute. Most of Dr. Seeley's work and others who study swarms say that, bees, once they swarm, need to travel a mile or up to 7 miles to find their true home. Now, it seems to me that it very much depends on the habitat. We have 50 acres, all of it designed for bees, from the water to the trees to the wildflowers to the clover, so that bees realize, and they're very smart, that why on earth would you leave our place and go live a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles away unless there's a better place? And there isn't. So the idea of, having to put these types of things up a mile or 2 away if you're a beekeeper or want to have bees on your place is really wrong. If you have an acre or 2 and you've turned that into a habitat for pollinators and you want to have bees move in, there's nothing wrong with thinking that perhaps 2, maybe even 3 will come and stay with you. So 2 things that we've sort of debunked. 1, bees will stay in a place that fits their needs, whether it be 50 yards, 100 yards away, or 2 miles away. So the idea that all beekeepers need to do this based on Dr. Seeley's work or even our work isn't really true. I can tell you on our farm, the hives that swarmed this year, 4 of them decided to stay with us. And they're, so far, cross fingers, still with us. Some in log hives and 1 in a Langstraw fixer-upper that I'll be showing you on future videos. So what I'm trying to help you understand is that we're having these new discoveries based on our environment. It may not work in your environment. If you're a rooftop beekeeper and you have your bees on the top of a hotel in Toronto, this probably isn't going to work. But if you're on a habitat created specifically for bees, you're going to need to really observe and study so that you can have your bees in the right situation. In our case, next year we're going to put up more of these homes for them. Who knows how many hives will stay. I'm Hank from the Wildflower Bee Farm, learning something new every day from our bees, and I hope you are as well. Have a great one.